Ladies and gentlemen, it is week 6. You know what time it is. That's right. It is the lightning round. You've got Kevin Tompkins, Mr. Gary Haddow, Mr. Andrew Cooper. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm always just good to see you guys' faces. Middle of the week. Hump day.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it's always good to talk football with our boys.
Slap a tongue on the microphone. Phenomenal.
Rugula. The old
Racket.
Jim Rome.
That's right.
UCSB. Jim Rome.
That's right. He's a gaucho.
He's a gaucho.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. Tonight, we'll, of course, do our week six strategy session. But before we do that, we drafted a couple high stakes teams on the channel here right before the season started. We're going to do a little bit of a state of the union here. So which one do we want to start out with? We want to do the FFPC one? We want to do the KFFSC one?
Which one are we doing better in?
KFFSC. The one I had a sourpuss on for like 2/3 of that draft.
Oh no, all three of us did. I'm pretty sure that afterwards I wondered if the podcast would continue. I think I may have even texted you that.
I was super
like, I just don't know, dude.
I walked away during the podcast for a good 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm going to kill these guys. So, all right. Yeah, let's do that one. I guess that's the formula for success, I think, really.
Yeah, you're not doing well unless you're just absolutely pissed off your draft. And if you're ecstatic coming out of your draft, you're 0-5 right now.
You messed up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
You done screwed it up. So
I feel personally attacked by the 0-5 comment.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the draft board first here. So let me get this up here. So we are team number 3. This was a third round reversal. So we had 103 and took Kamara, came back with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then came back with Carson. So we did a 3 running back start. I mean, Carson, we know he's a neck injury. CEH is on IR. So, the whole running back early, they tend to get hurt, kind of rearing their head there. But I really like our 4, 5, and 6. I think that's been the 3 guys that have propped up our team along with Kamara. So, I mean, that at least those first 6 rounds, I'm very, very fine with.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like you were texting before the show, like we felt we were so thin at wide receiver coming out of this. And I'm pretty sure Coop and I actually got in an argument about Emmanuel Sanders. And it turns out to be the most valuable pick we probably made in the entire draft.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's also some picks on here I'm looking at that I made that I'm like, oh boy. I mean, James White looked all right. He was getting like 6 catches a game before he got hurt. So not terrible.
Nothing wrong with James White.
Nelson Aguilar was one of mine though too. So yikes! Ouch.
I mean, I feel like we did really well with the wide receivers that we did choose, because Devonta Smith right now, he's basically getting alpha usage. Jarvis Landry was always steady before his injury. Rashad Bateman slated to come back this week. Emmanuel Sanders has been fantastic. Christian Kirk has been good in spurts too. We haven't had to use Jalen Hurts at all. But other than that, and I'll also switch over to our lineup right now so I can show you guys, the moves that we have made. But considering that we had to pretty much load up on volume at wide receiver after Godwin, I think we did really well.
Yeah. It's so weird that if you posted this to our followers, team number 4, without question, that's your guys' team. I would bet money team number 4, and no, we're team number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. That or 5, and that 5 is the ship chasing with Pat Kerrane, Pete Overzet, those guys. So let me switch over to. I will switch over to our roster currently. So right now, I'm going to pump this up a little bit here.
Yeah, Brandon Bolden,
Kadarius.
Yeah, right now our running backs are not looking super hot, just because injuries. Chris Carson, Lamar Jackson. We had to pick up Brandon Bolden, but Sanders, Godwin, Smith were still rocking that. We got Kadarius Toney for very cheap. We got him actually before his boom last week, so we were able to. Now we can flex him. Hopefully his his injury. He can actually play because we do need him. But other than that, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on IR, that hurts. We picked up Josh Gordon. Took a flyer on Khalif Raymond a couple weeks ago, KJ Osborne, Uzama. But other than that, we're 4-1 with this team, and I think it has pretty good potential. I just hope one of those running backs in CH or Carson, can at least come back and kind of propel us in that second half. But I'm pretty good with this team. It's definitely an about face from, I would say, at least how I was feeling.
When Rashad Bateman comes back and pulls an Odell from his rookie season, I mean, we all thought there's no chance. Like, even it's a huge flyer, but Ravens are passing, man. They look awesome. I mean, they're steamrolling, and once they get that true one alongside Hollywood and Mandrews, I mean, that offense is just going to click. So
Sammy Watkins is banged up. I mean, they let Devin Duvernay play a ton of snaps, so why not give him a shot? So we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to see that, of all the quarterbacks that could have, because Lamar Jackson set an NFL record. It was let's see, the completion percentage in a 40 attempt game. Tom Brady has never done that. Drew Brees has never done that. Quarterbacks that have had this opportunity time and time again, it was Lamar Jackson that did it, which is kind of wild. So if we get this rolling we have Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and then Rashad Bateman, whoever would have thought a Ravens passing game stack could be like the crux of a potentially, league winning scenario. It's kind of wild.
And for anybody wondering, yes, we did not stand a chance to win until Monday night when Lamar and Andrews just went haywire, and we ended up taking the win with Kadarius Toney, who the guys we placed that we played had just dropped Kadarius Toney, and we picked him up from them and got to start him against them. Not intentionally, it just happened that way. So poetic. And now we're going to get our ass kicked this week because of this boasting.
They can eat it though, because they can't take that back. They can't. We can lose this week, but they can't take that away from us. So.
Yeah, that was Hassan from RotoViz, who I believe Gary's in the same division on Scott Fishbowl, correct?
Yeah, and he didn't know it. He was like, "Man, we lost. It was crazy." And I was like, "Did you play us?" I was like, "Oh, never mind." I even looked at the Twitter for them, and I was like, "Oh, never mind." And that was like, "Oh, that was us."
Get some.
Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good about this team. Let's switch over to the other team here. So give me 1 second while I get that set up here. Interneting for Dummies 101 here.
It's really weird.
All right. So this is our FFP. This is our Football Guys Players Championship draft, and we are at Team 7. Kamara and Jones, nothing wrong with that. Jones fell to us there at 206, and we're loving life. Allen Robinson ain't looking too hot, but it is what it is. Hopefully that Bears offense can pull it together, but getting DJ Moore at round 4 is just a master stroke. T. Higgins just came back off a 2-game hiatus with a shoulder injury. So, Cincinnati's pretty much propelled by efficiency right now with Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Sutton, Fuller, and Elijah Moore. The back end of that, not super great with injuries and just the inefficiency of the Jets. But other than that top half looks, that's the crux of our team. Still looks pretty good. I mean, we're 3-2 in this league.
How is this team not better? I feel like this team is kind of sick.
You had injuries. You had A-Rob that's not been performing. The Baltimore defense wasn't great. And then our tight ends only came on. I mean, Songs, Komet, starting week 3, week 4. So, I mean, it's crazy. Through 15 rounds, even 16 rounds with Baltimore, I actually, in hindsight, still love every single one of those picks with the exception of Cole Komet. Every one of them.
Cole Komet's going to come around, man. You guys just wait. You wait and see. There's some numbers there. There's some underlying numbers. They're not seeing them. Not seeing them.
Yeah, it's just they're not seeing passing volume in that.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Come to market 8, dude. I'm telling you though, he's running like a 90% snap share, 80% route participation. And the thing is, he's getting 4 targets, but when they only throw 20 times, That's a 20% target share. So they're playing the Packers, they're playing the Buccaneers. You can't just throw 20 times. So we'll see. I think they're going to have to throw a little more, and Cole Kmet is one of the guys. So I don't sleep on him. That's all.
Going to pick him back up in Scottfish.
Yeah, all the metrics are there for him. It's just a matter of they need to throw more. I mean, they can't be running. I mean, that was the issue with the Saints too. The Saints barely threw, and all those guys, couldn't get going. I mean, the week before, Alvin Kamara didn't have one target. He ran 20-something routes and had 0 targets. Same kind of thing with the Bears. I mean, they just have to be able to pass 30 times a game at least to be able to get the numbers that we want. In fantasy. I mean, Mooney, Robinson, and Kmet are all hitting those kind of benchmarks. Mooney a little bit less on the routes run, but still getting what you want. Those are the only 3 that you'd even think about rostering.
They're playing all the snaps, really, basically, those 3. And I mean, like, if you think about last year at this time, through 5 weeks, Logan Thomas was wide receiver 27. He finished, tight end 27. He finished tight end 4. You know what I mean? So 5-week sample size, sure, it is what it is, but the underlying numbers to me are more important than, say, a couple touchdowns here or there. So, but anyway, that's all for Cole Kmet.
And I'll switch it over right now to the lineup that is there currently. 1 second here. All right. So yeah, right now it's basically the same thing. I mean, I think everybody here other than our kicker and our defense, we've drafted. Like we're still rolling with a lot of that. Kamara's on bye. I mean, Zach Moss has stepped up considerably, certainly over Devin Singletary. So I'm very happy with that.
And his schedule is about to be epic for the next few weeks.
Yeah, that definitely helps too. So he could definitely be a flex option there. And then, we picked up Taylor Heineke. Tua we had to drop because of his injury. Tyson Williams we picked up too. Josh Gordon, Jameson Crowder we still have too. Cole Kmet. So not a lot of turnover on this team. Basically, it's mostly guys that we've drafted just with a couple bit parts that we're hoping at least turn into something, especially with Crowder and Gordon. But other than that, I think we're in a pretty good spot here too to make a run. Hunter Henry's come on as well. Definitely separating over Jonnu. Jonnu got a rock bottom 19% route share. That's just
they both played exactly 40 snaps. Hunter Henry ran 22 routes and Jonnu ran 6. So
yep.
Smell you later.
Yeah,
he's got the hip injury though, so I mean it's not completely over for him, but you can't even think about starting him.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't even roster the dude right now. I don't think so. Yeah, but we're 3-2 in that league, and I think we're pretty good. We're not trying to toot our horn here. If we were 0-5, we'd be posting that and telling you what went wrong because we're nobody's perfect except for us. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but exactly. The point we're trying to make is that we're awesome at this. All right.
Yeah.
On to week 6, right? Let's get into the
nuts and bolts here.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go.
You like that?
I do.
The digs. All right. So no stranger to lightning round on the weeks here that we stream. We talk about the players that we're excited to watch, the players that we're nervous about, something that we want to get more information on for the week ahead. So either Gary or Coop, whoever wants to start it off, what's a player excited about for week 6?
I feel like I'm required to start this out. And I put the name up there because I felt like he had to be the name of not just this past week, but the last 2 weeks. And it's Kadarius Toney. We all wrote him off that it was just pretty much a terrible pick. It was shocking that they took him in the first round. Where they took him, I think it was 18th overall. And he did nothing for the first 3 games. And then he came in week 4, got 6 for 78, looked okay. He actually looked pretty good, especially against New Orleans offense, which I believe Kevin was the one that kind of called it. That expected he would get 10 targets against their soft slot corner, and they didn't have Shepard and Darius Slayton for the Giants. And so he stepped up. And then this past game, didn't Kadarius Toney look like one of the best wide receivers in the NFL this past week? It was insane.
His route
he just looked like an entirely different player. Yeah.
That one route where he completely turned Trevon Diggs around, who is basically the best corner, like he's looked the best so far this year. I mean, and that one route, and then later the one he caught where he just kind of like dipped back the other way. It's like, he looks, there's a few guys that do that. Like Jerry Jeudy sometimes does that. DeAndre Swift moves like that, but they move totally different than some of these other players. You know what I mean? Like they're made of some sort of gelatin or something, CeeDee Lamb sometimes. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, when he did that like over the head catch, like back here, like I was like, what is that? And like Kadarius Toney, he just didn't, nobody else looked like him this weekend, No.
So. He looked like an entirely different tier of wide receiver in all of the different aggregated categories. And it just came out of not nowhere, but I mean, even compared to what he was in college, he was a gadget guy. And this just looked like a guy who could take over any game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he went 10 for 189 with 13 targets on 59% of routes run, 59% of dropbacks is just dude had a 54% targets per out run. Like that is otherworldly. Like amazing. That's just I mean, the fact that he wasn't even great earning targets in college, and now he looks like rookie Tyreek Hill. Like right now, he's just he's taken over this, and it's so hard to keep him on the field or off of the field, I should say. So with all these guys coming back, I mean, how in the world do you keep him off the field? I mean, the Giants will find a way. Trust me, it is Joe Judge, but I mean.
As an NFL fan, it's nice to have a guy who's willing to come out, wear the wrong shoes to practice, and then not show up at all. And then when he doesn't play, call himself like a Cadillac or whatever he did, and then get in the game and go crazy, and then throw a punch and get kicked out of the game. It's like it's the exact diva wide receiver that we've been missing for a while.
Why does it sound like Happy Gilmore?
It's just like you need that wide receiver that's just so good, but also super obnoxious. So I'm glad he's stepped up to fill that role.
Is that the football equivalent of the Gordie Howe, where you had 10 targets, you could score,
the Gordie Howe
150 yards and throw a punch?
Yeah, for those that don't know, the Gordie Howe hat trick is what was it? It was assist,
a goal, assist, and a fight.
Yeah. I think that's what it was, right?
Like that's just amazing. Yeah, Tony's fantastic. I mean, the dude looks awesome, and it's been a while since the Giants have had someone. I mean, since pretty much Odell Beckham, since they've had a guy that talented. I mean, 2 games. It's a small sample size. If he's somehow out there in a league, whoever's watching, go get him yesterday. So
it'll be interesting. I feel like we're going to talk about him in a few weeks. In the what are we looking to get some more information on when all of a sudden the wide receivers are back and Barkley's back, what happens to Tony? And if they are able to, obviously not get these crazy high numbers, but keep him to be a focal point.
Yeah. So Kev, I feel like yours here falls right in the same category. So why don't we jump into your guy next?
Yeah. So, I mean, he was certainly a darling in week 2, but I want to talk about him more here because, as we said before, new information has come to light. That seems to be the running theme of everything we do here in the last how long. But it's Rondale Moore. I mean, Rondale Moore made just an absolutely sick sideline, like one of the best catches outside of Kadarius Toney. That sideline catch that he made was just ridiculous. But he ran more routes than Christian Kirk. I mean, we're seeing, Max Williams went down with an injury, likely season ending. I don't think he's been placed officially on IR yet, but I think by all accounts, did they? Okay.
They already announced.
Okay.
He's done.
Yeah. I mean, we figured he's going to be out for the year, but, So what are the Cardinals going to do right now? Are they going to be running more forward wide receiver sets and take advantage of the offensive firepower they have at wide receiver? Are they going to, I can't really see them throwing in Demetrius Harris or Darrell Daniels to take that spot for Max Williams. So right now, it's looking like it's going to be a lot of 4 wide receivers, and that's going to give both Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore a lot of space to operate. The fact that even before the injury that Moore was even getting more run, ahead of Christian Kirk was saying a lot about how they want to feature him going forward. I mean, his routes had dipped into that 38% range, after that big blow up in week 2. and it wasn't looking good, and he was pretty much a bench stash on your fantasy roster. But now, the fact that not only that, but he's gotten 11 backfield snaps in the past 2 weeks as well. So wheels up for Rondale Moore. I think you can put him in your flex now and feel good about it. I think he's going to get a lot more run going forward for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's been holding him back has been his run blocking so far. Like you look at some of these other guys, that's where the snap differences come from. For fantasy, it doesn't always matter. I mean, just this week, Christian Kirk played more snaps, but ran less routes, because Kirk's just a better blocker. And you look at like a couple of Rondale's big plays, Kirk has laid blocks for that. But I mean, at this point, Demetrius Harris, like you said, he's a good blocker, and he'll be in there probably for obvious run situations. But I don't think they're going to do what they were doing with Max Williams, where it's like you put him out there and then you throw it to him, or you put him out there even for pass plays at all. So I think it's just going to be that situation where it's 4 wide a ton. So super excited to see. The real question is whether he can get the full snap share where you actually trust him. So but we'll see. I mean, the earlier in the year, all we said, we were like, okay, he's getting these screens and gadget plays. I want to see him run real routes. Well, now he's running real routes. That play that you're talking about, Kev, that was man-to-man. Not only was it man-to-man, but there were 2 guys there. One was holding him, and he still made the play. So it's like, talk about exactly what we wanted to see, right? We wanted to see him beat guys in man-to-man with real routes. Well, he's doing that now. So, the sky's the limit, really, for a guy like that.
I also do have to add that throw, just the throw by Kyler. I mean, I think that Kyler is the runaway MVP currently, and just to be able to get the ball exactly to that spot where he can get that with his feet in bounds was just, I don't know, it was unreal.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and to that too, Max Williams. I mean, he came out of college. I believe went to Oklahoma. Drafted by the Ravens, and he was a pretty good. I mean, didn't he win the Mackey? I believe he won.
Max Williams did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I believe. He was a really good receiver coming out, and then just kind of got lost in the shuffle there.
Really good, or kind of good?
Good enough to do one of the motherfucking Mackey.
It's his 7th year in the league.
Well, he's good. He's certainly. I would venture to say he's a better pass receiver than Harris, at the very least.
I think what happens sometimes with these guys, I mean, we see it with wide receivers sometimes too, where the team tells them like, "Hey, you're going to block." So then you do what the team says. So like he bulked up for like if you look at his college highlights, like for the last couple of years, he's looked more like a tackle. I mean, even like week 1, he was diving for a ball, and I was like, "Is that like a guard?" And I realized it was Max Williams.
Is that Justin Pugh?
Yeah, like Jarvis Landry. He said that the Browns had him bulk up, and this offseason he actually shed like 15 pounds. But he said he was playing 15 pounds over where he used to play for the Browns because they were like, "We need you to block." And he was like, they're paying him all this money. He'll do whatever they say, So sometimes that does happen. So maybe, he was trending in that direction. Kind of shame to see him hurt, but, way it goes.
Yeah. Related, Derrick Henry was actually a pass catching scat back at Alabama before he bulked up. So they asked him to run the ball all the time, and look what he is now.
All natural too. Yeah. Okay. So mine, you guys had super exciting speedster gadget players. So I'll go with somebody who wouldn't be exciting to very many people except for me. So it's Ricky Seals-Jones. This is a guy who used to play for the Cardinals himself. And when he played on the Cardinals, all he did was catch passes. He never blocked. Same on the Browns. The Chiefs basically brought him in last year and kept him on ice in case Travis Kelce got hurt, which Travis Kelce does not do. So he didn't really get a chance there. Now, for the Washington football team, Logan Thomas is out from the moment. So Logan Thomas got hurt the week before last, right? Logan Thomas played 5 plays, and then he got hurt. Ricky Seals-Jones played 62 snaps. There were 67 in the game. So he just went into the Logan Thomas role and just played it full on, like the whole thing, right? Last week, they played 83 snaps. Ricky Seals-Jones played 82 of them. So since Logan Thomas got hurt, he's played every single snap but one. We're talking like 150 snaps. So they're committed to having him out there. Logan Thomas is on the IR. And this week they get the Chiefs, who have basically been one of the worst teams versus the tight end. These games turn into shootouts. The over-under, I think, is like 55, right? Even though it's the Washington, it's like, they're going to have to throw. And Curtis Samuel is now They say he's week to week, so he's definitely not playing this week. These are the exact same conditions that led to Logan Thomas kind of being the breakout last year. Terry McLaurin's the top guy. Logan Thomas is the second guy playing on the slot. Now it's Ricky Seals-Jones. So I'm excited to see if he can do it this week. I'm not necessarily starting him everywhere I have him, but I do have him in a few spots. And if he does well this week, next week he goes right in there, especially anybody out there who has, if you've been playing the waiver wire, picking up tight ends off the wire, week 7 is bye week like hell for tight ends. Like Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz, Tyler Conklin, Jared Cook, both the Steelers tight ends. Dan Arnold is on bye, and another team that I can't think of right now, but it's crazy that it's 6 teams on bye, and they're all those tight ends. Not to mention in your league, the Pitts and Kittle owners, their tight ends are on bye right now. So those guys went and pulled guys off the wire. Like if you're looking for somebody off the wire to start for you this week or next, Ricky Seals-Jones or Dan Arnold are guys that are potentially out there that are looking like they're in pretty good spots. So I'm excited to see if RSJ can put it together this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much 1-for-1 for Logan Thomas right now. So I mean, why wouldn't you? He has pass catching profile. I mean, he went 5 for 41 this week. I mean, you'll certainly take 9.1 PPR points out of a tight end any day of the week. So sure. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a priority if you in a growth position like that when you can get a guy that's playing 80% of this. I mean, those are the elite guys playing 80% of snap, 80% of routes, not even just snaps. I mean,
he's playing 99% of the snaps.
99. Yeah, he's played 99 and he played 87.5% of the routes. So yeah, go get him.
Right. Just picked him up, starting him this week. Starting to start him over Tyler Higbee, see what happens.
Attaboy, Gary. That's a good play. Go. That's a good matchup. Good play.
Imagine drafting Tyler Higbee.
Oh, I had to trade for him.
Couldn't be me.
I had to trade for him. That's so much worse.
He's got a good matchup next week, though, I think. So if RSJ completely flops, you can start Higbee against I forget who it is, but it's a pretty good matchup.
It's Detroit, I think.
There you go.
Bada bang. All right, so we talked about the players that we were excited about. I'm going to go into the player that I am nervous about, and I'm going to put a kind of a different spin on it because I'm not worried about the player specifically, but I'm worried about a type of scenario that we have kind of seen before recently, and it's Keenan Allen for the Chargers. I'm writing about, you'll see this tomorrow morning in my data blast about Keenan Allen, and I dubbed it Robert Woods syndrome, where a guy is playing second fiddle to somebody that's either breaking out or just absolutely crushing it. We saw Robert Woods just absolutely crush it on Thursday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks. Cooper Kupp, obviously the big darling, wide receiver 1 and all that. Mike Williams had a transcendent game last week where he had a dud week the week before, but dude had 16 targets, 8 for 165 and 2 touchdowns. So Keenan Allen, it hasn't been doing too bad. But he hasn't fulfilled, that kind of 3rd round draft slot. So I liken that to Robert Woods syndrome, where it's going to happen for Keenan Allen, and I want people to not worry about Keenan Allen going forward because there's going to be plenty of days, plenty of times where the dude is going to blow up. I don't think, you could call him a mild disappointment, I suppose, but if you drafted him, better days going to come.
It sounds like you're more worried about all the should I bench Keenan Allen questions that might come your way if he does poorly. As this is like an analyst, I'm an inside baseball analyst nervous for because that happens to me sometimes at tight end too, where I'm like, oh man, this is such a bad matchup, and I know people are going to be like, should I bench so and so? And I'm like, no, you don't bench Mark Andrews. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's definitely what's going to happen for you if Keenan Allen has a bad week, then Kevin Tompkins have to send out a public service announcement calling everyone an idiot, so
I don't know about calling people an idiot. I'll make it a little more veiled, a
little more tactful. Yeah. But that's the message, is not
pretty much. But you got to admit, it is essentially Robert Woods syndrome.
Right. And we had to tell people about that too, over and over and over.
Over.
And it worked.
And it was right. And
damn right.
Again,
the Tompkins tumble has been lifted for the most part.
That wall back there, wheels up.
I'm hiding the Ayuk thing. Other than that, we're good.
Maybe that's just weird motivation. Bruce Arians used to do that. He would just publicly be like, the only wide receiver on this. He's like, it says we have 8 wide receivers on the depth chart, but the only one I see is Larry Fitzgerald. You know what I mean? Like, he would just totally murder people, and it's like that was his way of motivating people. Maybe they're doing the same thing.
I'll at 1K all day AJ Brown because he is playing the Bills on Monday Night Football. I think AJ Brown gets it going, and the Tompkins tumble will officially be lifted.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Devontae Adams hasn't been tumbling.
Not at all.
You've been rolling, baby.
What about you guys?
Coop, you're up.
I'll go. So my guy, I'm definitely worried about this one, and it's because it falls into that category that everyone hates, dude. And Dalvin Cook has been known for this. The old, I'm going to play, but they have another guy. And, he actually did it the week before last where it's like everything was split. This guy did the same thing last week, and now he's going to play. And in the situations where you have him, you got to start him. I'm talking about Joe Mixon, where it's like, what do you do about this guy? Because like this week he scored a touchdown, but dude, he only played like 19 snaps or something like that. Samaje Perine played a ton, but he's also playing the Lions. So it's like the Lions are reeling right now and they're letting up so many run yards. Like it's just a situation where the Bengals do want to run, and going to this game, you could create a million narratives where it's like, oh, it's a Joe Mixon get right game, or it's a, or they might say, oh, well, we're beating these loser cats so badly that, we're just going to use Samaje Perine and Chris Evans and just kind of let them relax. It's like, you don't know what to do. So it makes me so nervous because I have a lot of Joe Mixon and I have situations where I know I need to start him. It's the ones where I don't necessarily have to that scares me the most. So, I mean, what are you guys doing if you have Joe Mixon? Like, it's kind of a predicament,
This week I'm starting. So Samaje is on the COVID list, so he's not going to be playing this week. So Chris Evans is going to be his backup.
He's definitely out.
Because I saw that Chris Evans was going to be the number 2.
Ooh.
I mean, there's still time though, right?
Because he could pass.
I would think.
Yes,
I know with Goddard it was pretty dicey because it's a short week.
Anyway, I made assumptions, but so if Samaje's out,
I think you're right.
Fully playing Mixon, and I'm probably fully playing Mixon. I would imagine, no matter what, just because of the matchup. Even though the Lions have been a little bit easy, a little bit harder than I don't know. There's been a weird team, right?
I love you, Linda.
Linda, go away, dude. Oh my god, she's the worst.
I don't stick to kickers, Linda.
Unbelievable, dude. Thanks for watching our show, you jerk.
Linda's stat about was it the Texans or the Jags that like haven't made a field goal in the first 5 games or whatever was just like this is
the Jags,
insane.
I think.
Unprecedented.
Like
it is.
What? Like, how is this a real Urban Meyer? Go away.
For real, seriously.
I know you already ruined Visca.
Linda, go away. Urban Meyer, go away.
But
John
Linda,
Gruden
way to come through with
away.
that stat, man. It blew my mind.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I have Samaje Perine in a few weeks too, and I'm actually entertaining starting him because I'm not sure he played 28% of the snaps, but I mean, he still got 10 carries and they're on obvious, running downs too. So, they weren't very deceptive with Joe Mixon. I mean, they pretty much Jordan Howarded Joe Mixon, I guess, if I can make that a term. But I mean, yeah, they're going up against Detroit. I think they might just completely split that. I mean, I think Mixon will play more. I'm going to throw Perine in, and if he's playing, if he's not on the COVID list, sure, I'll play him. I have no problem. I mean, who else would I be starting? Jeremy McNichols? I mean, sure.
Hey, real quick, before we go on to Gary's here, we have a question. Moving forward, would you rather have in full PPR Tyler Boyd, Corey Davis, or Rondale Moore?
Man, that's rough.
Like if it's like you had to start one rest of the season,
just like who finishes higher, who scores more points.
Yeah. With these situations, I usually ask myself, how far away are they from my starting lineup? Right.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 wide receivers, and this is my 3 wide receivers you start every week, and this is my 4th or 5th wide receiver, maybe Boyd, right? Because it's like he's the one
a certainty,
most confident throwing in there. But if we're talking about like your 5th, 6th, 7th wide receiver where you just care about upside, I think we're all leaning Rondale, right?
Yeah. You wait and see what happens. I mean, it's even right now with Elijah, I would like rather wait on Elijah as my wide receiver 7 than have to depend on Corey Davis as my wide receiver 5. Just because the upside that is possibly there. And Rondale just looks awesome, and Kyler's not going away.
Right. And that Bengals offense will always be condensed to those 3 wide receivers too. And that's pretty much it. I mean, whereas the Jets are a tighter fire right now, and you're even lucky to get something to your number 1, which is Davis. Yeah. And then Rondale, who is on arguably the best offense right now on the best team in football, with a potential role that can expand. We don't know it for sure, but having to answer this now without the benefit of knowing what's going to happen, you have to go Boyd. But the clear upside is with Rondale Moore.
Right.
Yeah. I want to see what would happen if Hopkins sat a game. Let's just say he doesn't get injured. He wants to take his mom out for brunch, so he doesn't play that game.
Can't we just put them all in a pit and just let them duke it out? Whoever wins, we get to start. It would be Corey Davis though.
Who would
win in that fight?
It definitely wouldn't be Rondale Moore. He's like
I don't know.
Like
I mean, remember Game of Thrones? I mean, Tyrion was he helped win the Battle of the Blackwater, man.
Every time you watch Game of Thrones,
how can you tell I'm currently in the middle of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, there you go.
Just look at your Twitter stream. Anyway, but
even though he's not in the fight, DK Metcalf would still win.
He'd find a way. Yeah, he'd just like run in.
He'd rip the door down and just show up. Yeah, would you take DK Metcalf or the 3 of them?
Or would you take?
Could not do anything against DK. So that's.
Would you? Okay, here we go. Here's a hypothetical. Would you take DK versus the 3, or what would be a fair fight? Or Corey Davis and 100
Rondale Moore
6-inch DK Metcalfs.
That's. I'm taking the Metcalfs. I'm taking the Metcalfs in every scenario.
You always, yeah. It's a Metcalf sweep. All right, Gary.
I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I hate it. The Bears passing game is just like, what do you do? Like, Justin Fields was either the number 2 or number 3 quarterback in dynasty leagues that were coming off. I mean, at the 102, 103, 104. Granted, you have time to wait on that, but Allen Robinson, where do we get him? Round 4. I mean, I feel like he was pretty much a consensus lock. It was either Keenan Allen or Allen Robinson if you were going wide receiver at the back of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th. And then Darnell Mooney seemed like, all right, well, even if like Allen Robinson's not doing his thing, Darnell Mooney's going to come in like that 5 for 125 game dude, like locked in that he was going to become the heir apparent wide receiver 1. But like Justin Fields has only thrown the ball 20 times, like not more than 20 times, just 20 times twice or less than that. I don't know. I get that they played like Cleveland, who kind of just crushed them, and then Detroit and the Raiders. So I mean, they won those games, and now they have some tough matchups against Green Bay and Tampa Bay, and who knows what the hell the Niners are. But for the next 2 games, I think someone said it earlier, like you're going to have to see Fields throwing the ball. So what does this look like? I mean, I'm still nervous as hell about it. Is Jair going to play this week? Do you know, Kevin? Or
no.
Goop?
He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least that helps Justin Fields, but I don't know. Like, I have no idea what the hell to expect from this. And yet, if you drafted Allen Robinson, is he somebody that you're starting? I mean, I don't know. Like, you feel like you have to, because that game has to come. It has to Robert Woods it and get there. But Robert Woods had the Rams, who are like a passing team, and Stafford, who's awesome and amazing. And then there's Justin Fields. So I don't know. It's just sad. It's depressing. Like, I have to debate Allen Robinson or Rondale Moore. And I think I just have to go with Allen Robinson.
Yeah, man. It's Yeah, like I think I'm with you. It could almost fall under something I'm excited to see because they have to throw, right? Like they have to throw more. You can't just throw 20 times against the Packers or the Buccaneers. But I mean, here's a crazy stat I saw. So they do play the Packers this week. The wide receivers for the Bears have combined for 524 yards this season, right? Devontae Adams, for the team they're playing, has by himself 579 yards. So by himself, he's got more receiving yards than all the wide receivers on the Bears. So, I mean, that can't possibly stay. Like, that can't possibly be the stat line by, the continuation here. They have to bring in a different quarterback if it continues that way. So, I'll be interested to see what it looks like, but they got to throw more.
I want to know how that target breakdown is. Adams versus the Bears wide receivers. Does he have the same, if not more, targets than their entire wide receiving core?
There's no question he has more. Well, I mean, Darnell Mooney has a decent number. There's no way he has more but
it's not. It's probably closer than people think, though.
Right. Because Mooney and Allen Robinson together have 60. There's no way Devontae Adams.
And Adams is he's in the 60s. I know that, right? Pretty sure.
Jeez.
But it's close enough, which is
it's actually pretty close. It's actually fairly close.
There's only one person that can help Justin Fields right now, and it's Matt Nagy. Like, he has to see what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Trey Lance and accentuating his strengths. That's what he has to do. He can't just run QB draws and let Justin Fields just run up the middle. He has to design ways for Justin Fields to be successful instead of running him into the line or just running just straight QB sweeps. Like, they need some kind of misdirection. They need some kind of diversionary stuff. They need to just update this offense to what, it looks like it's still what they would be doing with Andy Dalton right now. And that's the problem. So I think eventually Matt Nagy is going to go down with this ship.
The thing that bothers me,
it's almost arrogance at this point.
Just real quick, the thing that bothers me is that, like, okay, you're getting crushed by the Browns 26-6. That's a time that you can just throw it and give the guy some experience, give him a chance, right? Or then the next week you're beating up on the Lions, right? Like, that's a chance to also just kind of throw it. You know what I mean? Like, he's never going to get better by just not addressing the issue and not trying to throw the ball more. You know what I mean? This week, 20-9 against the Raiders. The Raiders are clearly not competitive. Throw the ball. You know what I mean? Just give him some experience throwing it. It seems crazy to me that they would just be, say, okay, we'll just lean into this. Like, he's at a certain point, you're going to have to throw it. So you might as well get the practice, especially against a team like the Lions or the Raiders when they basically lied down,
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to give this guy, let him come out, make short throws, let him get a rhythm, and then build from there. Like, I'm surprised we didn't see this coming, because remember Mitchell Trubisky? He had that game with the Dolphins where he threw 9 times?
Right.
Wasn't that was Nagy as well, I believe. Like, it's just maybe that's just how he operates with the rookie quarterbacks or something, where he just puts them basically, he wraps them up and doesn't let them. Justin Fields wants to see the world, man. Like, just let him get out there and experience the world. Let him throw some passes. Let him gain a rapport with these guys. Just don't coddle him.
I feel like they should put Cool Runnings on in the locker room before the game. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Come on, run, it's bobsled time.
I can only imagine if they did that, like, Nagy would get murdered for that.
Literally, yeah. That would not end.
The media
well.
would have a field day. You'd have to be like the best coach in the league to do something like that. Like, you have to be like Joe Madden, because he does quirky stuff like that.
Joe Madden, yeah.
Like, he would get away.
You're not wrong.
He would get away with that, though. Like, no, I don't even think any NFL coaches would get away with it.
Joe Madden's awesome. He's the ultimate players coach.
All right, so let's do the last one. This is the theme. Why don't you play the new theme for this? Because this is what is something you're looking for more information on in week 6?
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
That's the best, dude.
It is.
All right, who wants to go first on this one, then?
I'll do it. because I don't have a ton to say. It's just what I want to see. Russell Wilson's out. He's out anywhere from 1 to 2 months. And Geno Smith is in. And this dude's still got a touchdown to DK on Ramsey. Like, I don't understand how that even happened. What's his offense going to be? They're going against the Steelers. They just played the Rams, and Geno still did okay in that. So I don't know. I feel like Geno's going to come in and not do anywhere near as well as it seemed like he could after that spot start halfway through. So we know that we have Lockett, we have Metcalf. Do you have to start Lockett no matter what in this matchup? Because I almost feel like it's you just go after that one target, but maybe that guy's Metcalf. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I'm excited to see what happens, but at the same time, I'm very nervous.
I mean, Geno looked kind of interesting. He looked good.
Yeah.
But the thing is with this league, like it's a tape league, once they get the tape on you, they weren't prepared for Geno, now teams will be a little more ready for him. But I mean, it's kind of wide open now. Maybe Gerald Everett is a guy again. Maybe he likes Freddie Swain,
Travis Homer,
Pennyhart. It's like we have no idea who he likes. Could be that like backup QB corollary where he's been working on this one special route with Dwayne Eskridge. I think Eskridge is still hurt, but somebody.
The Statue of Liberty, or the annexation of Puerto Rico.
That's right,
Freddie Swain.
They've been working on their back. Practice is over. Yeah, Freddie Swain. Practice ends, and they're just out there. They're like, "We'll show them. Let's work on this secret play for when we get in there." Him and Pennyhart and Freddie Swain. So maybe, you never know. So.
Pennyhart, my 2018 Dynasty draft will be very happy to know that Pennyhart was finally getting some run here in 2021.
They have like 4 wide receivers on the roster. That's it. It doesn't even make sense, really.
I mean, it's so condensed that I don't think you can't not start Metcalf or Lockett. I mean, even with a quarterback switch from Wilson to Geno, I think it's just so condensed there that I don't think it matters with their targets. Yeah. I mean, you're certainly looking at the reduced efficiency between Wilson and Smith. That's, a given there, but I still think just raw targets, getting out to these guys, and clearly Lockett and Metcalf are good enough to be able to mitigate some of a lesser quarterback throwing the ball to them. So I'm still perfectly fine on those two. And I think that's certainly that backup quarterback corollary and, find its way into some relevancy.
You say they'll be fine until they run the fumble Rooski with Colby Parkinson, dude.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm crying. I'm not even kidding.
Kev, what do you got, man?
I've got the Kansas City backfield because, obviously I have no CEH right now. We're running with Darrell, the mentor Williams, and also Jerick McKinnon. I mean, Darrell Williams was pretty much the number 2 waiver wire pickup this week behind Devonta Booker. You could throw Alex Collins in there too, but who's to say? I mean, this could go a lot of ways. This could go where they let Darrell Williams get 12 to 14 opportunities, touches, or targets and carries. They could give McKinnon some of that work, or they could just literally cut out the running game and then just pass and then use like Hardman as a short, as a running game, basically. Just stuff on the line of scrimmage. I mean, we saw him get double-digit targets. The only way that Mecole Hardman could ever get double-digit targets is being in a game where Mahomes dropped back over 60 times, which happened on Sunday night. So, it could go a number of ways. I want to see what happens with that. But that's why I really wasn't too in on Darrell Williams, because I feel like for the Chiefs offense and that team kind of reeling right now that they just got stomped by Buffalo at home, that they're going to come out guns blazing. And I don't think they're going to want to waste time, with a possibly inefficient running game. So we'll see what happens, but I would lean toward them just pass.
Yeah, 37 snaps for Darrell Williams, 27 for Jerick McKinnon. So Jerick McKinnon, super athletic before all the injuries. He did like a stupid number of bench presses at the combine. If anyone remembers, it was something like 25 or something. He did like 225 like 25 times, which is insane. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't just go full Cordarrelle Patterson and throw Josh Gordon back there at running back, just get after it. It's working.
There's a gimmick running back, JB.
Beast. JB.
I'm not letting that go, by the way.
Gary, what do you think? KC running backs, are you interested?
I love Darrell Williams. We actually, in any leagues that we are in, Kevin and I, I think in one of the two we talked about earlier,
he's like our late round. How it's our team is we.
I had him in literally every single.
That's your calling. That's your calling card.
Oh, I don't have him in any one of those except for Scott Fish. Now I've dropped him in every single one.
But you did have him. It's like when
he would be like my Diami Brown.
It's like when the villain in Batman, he just like leaves like a ace of spades at the scene of the crime that you guys drafted Darrell Williams in the last round.
I will have you know, I owned James Robinson last year before the season, and I dropped him almost everywhere for Divine Insignia. So don't worry about it.
Don't worry about me.
I got my Scarlet J-Rob.
I can't believe you didn't listen to me. I scouted him in the FCS playoffs. I was the very first in on James Robinson. In that FCS playoff game, Illinois State against NDSU. So just putting that out there. You should listen to me.
There you have it. Professional scout Kevin Tompkins invented James Robinson.
I did invent. Yeah, I'm taking I invented the question mark or the post-it notes from Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
That's right. Yep. Okay, so here's mine to finish us off here, and I'm looking to get more information on the Lions wide receiver situation. So we kind of knew what was going on, right? So. Beginning of the season, it was supposed to be Patterson, Tyrell Williams. Sorry, not Patterson. It was supposed to be Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perriman. Perriman got cut. Tyrell Williams he's been out with concussion for now 5 weeks. So honestly, prayers up. That's horrible to see. Hopefully, he ends up being fine. I'm sure they're giving him the best treatment, but that is scary. So now it ended up basically being Quintez Cephas on the outside on one side, Khalif Raymond on the other side, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was playing 80% of his snaps in the slot. He was coming out for 2 wide receiver sets, was kind of, low upside situation. But this weekend with Quintez Cephas now out and on IR, Amon-Ra St. Brown actually played 17 snaps out wide, which is twice as many as he had in any game so far this year. I think the most he played was 8, and that was in the game that they played 93 snaps week 1, which is like an absurd high number of snaps, right? It's like 8 of 93 isn't even that many, really. And it's like he's been playing less than that. So now Amon-Ra St. Brown, to me, I was super against him because he wasn't going to play outside at all. But now that he is a little bit, I'm intrigued. Khalif Raymond, him, Kadero Hodge, who played for the Browns. He's an all-exercise. He's definitely part of Kevin's all-exercise team. And he's definitely a guy that you put out there to just play split end, put his foot tethered to the line and run block and stuff. But who knows? You know what I mean? He could be interesting. But, I mean, it can't just only be Hawk and Swift. So somebody's got to do something, So I'm interested to see how that shakes out. I'm most interested in Amon-Ra St. Brown if he can actually be a guy that plays slot for 3 wide, but then moves to the outside for 2 wide. If he doesn't really do that and they just go with the other 2 guys, then I don't care. I don't really want any of them, So, but I'm interested to see what it looks like anyway, because this team is a team that has to throw. They are trash.
Yeah, they are absolutely 100% trash. And at least Amon-Ra St. Brown has 8 targets, I believe, in the last 2 games too. So, I mean, we did see that a little bit from Khalif Raymond, and then he dropped off. But yeah, it looks like Kadero Hodge kind of stepped into that Cephas role after he got hurt. He ran 60% of the snap or of the routes, I should say. So we'll see what happens, but it's no matter almost who you throw in there, it's a tire fire. But at least Amon-Ra St. Brown has, hey, did you know he was drafted in the 4th round? I mean, tell those dynasty people that, because right now they are on their heels.
Yeah, they're really excited, man. Yeah, just nothing better than a team that is literally built to tank and collect picks and move money to the future for your guy to, via 4 injuries and a cut, backdoor his way into a small amount of targets on the worst team in the league. Congratulations, everybody. We did it.
Remind me to clip that, by the way.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna get canceled. I'm on St. Brown Twitter for like the 4th time this year, dude. Like the loop keeps bringing that up with the list of guys drafted in the 4th round, the best players, and
The Jamison Crowders of the world, and
dude, the Jamison Crowder's a megastar on that list. Have you seen the list? It's like Ace Sanders. Remember Ace Sanders and like it's like
how can I forget Ace Sanders, man?
It's like Ken Walter. Like it's such a Kevin Walter, maybe. Like,
yeah, Texans.
Bad, yeah, it's a bad list, dude. Kevin Walter's a stud on that list.
Oh my!
For anybody that's trying to think, Kadero Hodge, how do I know that name? He was the wide receiver 1 for the Browns when they lost to the Jets last year.
To the Jets.
I guarantee I probably had him on Scott Fishbowl.
Terrible game.
Oh my god, dude!
It's all right. If I rostered Jeff Smith and Braxton Berrios last year, I probably rostered Kadero Hodge.
You were Hodge in it. He played a ton of snaps for the Browns last year, inexplicably.
He did, and that was before the Hollywood Higgins stuff last year. So, all right, boys. 55 minutes. I think we should pack her up here.
Yeah, we accomplished what we needed to.
We did. So thanks to everybody for watching, and we will see you with Calm Before the Storm on Sunday morning. Myself, Gary Haddow, and of course, Britt Flynn. We will be going over the inactives and everything for Week 6 football. We will be telling you which Lions wide receiver to start after Meteor hits the rest of them, and they have to start Walter. So,
don't really
Gary. This is not a classroom, by the way. Again, the second thing.
Good luck, Professor Cooper, teaching about contrapunto music.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I'm doing a little guest lecture thing at my college university tomorrow, so that should be interesting. So,
in your field of expertise, contrapunto music,
cinema.
You should come in like on the Office when Michael has to give that speech to Ryan's class. He comes in with the boom box. And he's playing like the book on tape, and it's like, "Welcome to the Learning Annex" or whatever.
Yeah. Should I go in as Prison Mike and just try and scare these kids straight?
Like just go over and like just start ripping pages out of a dude's textbook.
Right. Yeah.
Start calling him Kowalski.
Yeah. Where's your homework, Larry? Is this your homework?
Oh my God, I love it.
No, God!
No. I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So I actually have to go watch a movie right now, even though it's like
all right, man.
11 at night.
All right, we are out. See you on Sunday, and then of course for Lightning Round here, we will see you next week. Have a great night.